Taylor Lambertsen. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Wonderful. We are so excited to have you on A.Putnam's Women in Golf feature this week. And we're so excited to learn about how you got to the sport and what you're up to.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share my story and inspire others too.
That's wonderful. And you're doing a lot of that as the director of instruction at First Tee Chicago.
Yes.
And there's so many questions that I've got queued up for you, and I think others will be really interested in understanding what that's like and what you're working on. I just want to call out too. I know there's much more to your past that we'll find out here in a little bit, but last year, I think it was December, you were awarded amongst the top 50
Yes.
junior instructors by
Yes.
U.S. Kids Golf. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's super exciting. So that was my second year in a row, and this year
Was
I'm
it
hoping to
really?
get the master junior coach in the world. So fingers
Oh
crossed for this
my
coming
gosh.
year, but to be
That's
in the top 50
amazing.
twice was unbelievable.
Killer. I love it. And it's fun to see you on social, which is where we met, right? On
Yes.
Instagram and started chatting. And it's fun to see your energy. And that's exactly what you need with kids. So
Thank you so much.
that's so cool. Well, we'll get in. We'll kind of go through some of these fun questions and then we'll tap into some of the questions that few people on Instagram shared with us.
Awesome.
So let's just start off with why golf and what brought you to this sport and where'd you start?
I started in high school. I started when I was 13 years old. I was late coming into the game when I got into high school. Everybody at that point had already been playing for a few years. But I was a cheerleader before, and I figured, let's try something different coming into high school. Let's see what's out there. And golf was that sport for me that I picked up very naturally and absolutely loved it right from the start. I got a hole in one very early on in my
Wow.
career, and it kept me going back, obviously.
Oh,
I'll never
funny.
forget it. It was on my dad's birthday, and I was playing with some friends, and I called him on the course, and I said, "Hey, Dad, guess what?" And he kind of was like, "What?" I said, "I just made a hole in one," and he said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that."
Oh,
And
that's so cool. Memorable.
so it definitely that started my love for the game, and
Yeah.
then I went on a
How
big road
many
trip with him.
how many have you gotten since then?
I've had one other since then, so I have two
Wow.
total.
Also
Yes,
impressive. Oh my
yes.
gosh, cool.
So
So you went on a road trip with your dad, you said after
with my
that?
dad, yes.
Yeah.
And him and I went and looked at about 25 schools in 2 weeks.
Holy
And
cow.
I ended up finding my dream school for college and went out there for 4 years. Absolutely loved it and wouldn't change it for the world. And that kind of led me to where I am today.
And so where did you play?
I played at Tusculum College in Tennessee.
Nice, nice. But where are
Yes.
you from?
I'm originally from Palos Park.
Okay, got it. Awesome. And right now you're in
Yes.
Chicago.
Yes.
And that's amazing. So then what did you study in school that kind of got you to where you are right now?
I studied in sports management and then I
Okay.
also got my master's in HR.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I tried to tie everything together. I had a lot of unique experiences in college that got me to experience what different sports are and the
Hmm.
different aspects of sports management. So I was able to work with NASCAR, I was able to work with IndyCar, I worked with the
Cool.
Gatlinburg Sports Center, I worked for the Houston Astros minor league team. So I kind of did like a big mix. And then my junior and senior year summers, I actually worked with the Illinois Junior Golf Association, which I grew up
Okay.
playing on
Cool.
and in their tournaments. And that's when I found that I really liked being around the kids all the time
Yeah.
and wanting to give back and teach them kind of what I grew up playing and got to do and all the different activities that I got to see from it. So that's how I ended up getting into the golf side of this industry.
That is fabulous. That is such a cool path too. And certainly there's not many people that can say what they studied is what they're doing in their career today. So you've
Yes.
really tied in all your passions to get you where you are, which is so cool. That's very lucky. That's awesome. A lot
Yes.
of hard work, obviously, now along the way.
Yes. A lot, but it all pays off.
It does. It does. So you're full time with First Tee.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So that's good to know that's where you're at, where you are. Before we get into more details on kind of First Tee, I think this will tie into some of the questions that people had as well. We'll get into a couple of fun questions. So Um, if you could master any other sport, what would it be?
I really enjoy pickleball, and so I'd really like to
Uh-huh.
master that. That's been a new
It's a
one,
hot one right now. It is. I
but it
haven't
is
played
very
yet.
fun. It is so much fun.
It looks it. I know. I've got that on my list too. Not quite to master it, but at least try it.
Yes,
That's
I had a lot of fun trying it over the past winter, and I would love to actually be able to do it up in Chicago a lot more.
that's neat. I have friends that live in Chicago and she's typically, I think she played as well. I know last year she did for sure. And I'm like, you're really bundling up to go do this
Yes,
in the middle of
yes,
winter, but it gets you outside.
it does. So
Really,
I'd love to
that's
do
cool.
that.
That's fun. That's fun. Let me know how it goes.
We'll do. We can have catch up
Uh-huh.
on that one.
That's right. That's right. How about what's your strangest superstition? Any superstitions?
I have a very odd one. I
Oh, I
don't
love it.
take practice swings.
Oh, at all.
No,
Like
I never.
prior to going out to play, or you're saying stepping up to a ball, you'll never take a practice swing?
Stepping up to a ball, you will not see me
Yeah.
take a practice swing. We figured it out my second year in college
Uh-huh.
that there's just something about it that like I would have a great practice swing, and then if you put me to that ball, it would be a
Yeah.
completely different one. So it's like, why not just use that first one that
First
I know what I'm
swing.
doing? So we actually stopped having me take practice swings, and my game
Oh.
completely changed.
And still to this day, no practice swings.
Still to this day, no
I
practice
might
swings.
have to try that this summer.
It works out well.
I know. I do have that feeling sometime where I'm like, well, yeah, practice swing felt really good, but I don't know what happened between that and hitting the ball. That's funny. That's a good one. I like
I have
it.
a really weird one, and my dad actually like brought this back up because I was going through stuff with him, and
Yeah.
he goes, "You might want to mention this, but you might not." But
What?
it's funny.
Now you have
Um,
to.
I despise having ribbons in my hair,
Oh
and
my
in college
gosh.
and in high school, we always had to wear ribbons when we played. And for some reason, it was just this one thing that I could not do, and so I tied on my bag, and my
Uh-huh.
college coach would go put it back in your hair, and I'd put it back in,
That's
take it right back off.
Oh, that's
But
so funny. And you said
yes,
were a cheerleader too. So like
yes,
that kind of had to be an issue there as well.
yes. So as soon as I
How
think the
funny.
cheerleading days were done, that bow was out of my hair and ribbons never went back in.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
So
So wouldn't chalk you
yes,
up as too girly of a girl to wear bows in your hair. Got
not
it.
anymore. Yes,
That's too funny. That's a good one. Thanks, Dad, for that.
yes.
How about who do you look up to the most?
I would say my parents.
Yeah.
They've instilled a lot of great qualities in raising me and building me up to be a successful female.
Yeah.
And both of them have been very successful in their careers, and I look up to everything that they've done. So it's
That's
been really cool
wonderful.
to kind of keep going as I grow in my career, and they look that down and they say, "Oh, you still got
Yeah.
all this in front of you." So it's
Yeah.
been pretty cool.
That is neat. And they're kind of there every step of the way, like through thick and
Yes,
thin. So I can relate to that. That's cool. What
yes.
about the craziest rule in golf? Is there one that annoys you?
There's a couple that I definitely have, fallen hard on.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think it's like the advice rules, because sometimes you can have advice, sometimes you can't. And especially now being a coach, it falls
Hmm.
into that where you can in some tournaments give advice, but then others you can't.
Staying.
So in college, it would be, when your coach could give you something, and then in another event that he couldn't. So the advice one has been very difficult to, I think,
I did
navigate. That's kind
not,
of strange.
I didn't know about that one. And I think that's from never playing, on a
Yes.
like in any formality like that. That's interesting.
Yes. So
I can
that's
see that
the,
being tough.
yeah, I would say for juniors wise, because that's
Hmm.
always a big question that I've gotten, is
Yeah.
like hazards. Kids don't understand what hazards of the red and yellow,
Yeah.
what all the different colors in their minds, what those all mean. And so it's been fun to teach them the different ways of like trying to remember it and all the different options
Oh,
that they can
cool.
get. So
Oh,
that's a
that's
fun
neat.
part of my job.
Yeah, you get to be clever on that one, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes.
The things that stick with them, yeah, usually the funnier they are, the better.
Yes.
Yeah. What about what's your favorite thing to do off the course?
I love traveling. That's one of my
Okay.
favorite things to do. I like to go and play different golf courses, or I like to go out and
Mhm.
just go to the beach and kind of get away for a little bit. So traveling is one of my favorite things to do when I'm not working.
That's wonderful. And there's a lot of good places to see in golf. Do you have a favorite
Yes.
golf course that you've either played or want to play?
My favorite that I've played is Tobacco Road in North Carolina. That
Oh,
is a must for anybody in the golf world. And
okay.
one place that I'd still really like to play would probably be St. Andrews.
Yeah. Yeah. The old course. That would be at the top of the
Yes.
list. I
Yes.
could see
So
that. One
that's
day.
one day we'll get out there.
Yes. You put it on your list, you'll get there.
Yes.
How about, are you binge watching any shows right now?
I just started on the plane home for Outer Banks season 3 or 4,
Oh, okay.
whichever one they're currently on. Um, so I'm binge watching that currently.
Yep. Yep. I heard that is binge worthy. I've not seen it yet, but I've heard it's on my list
Yes.
whenever I find that time.
Yes. Usually the plane is my time that I get to watch something.
It is
So
a good time to unplug. Nobody can really bother you too much up there. That's
yes.
good. What about your favorite piece of golf clothing?
Ooh, that's gotta be shoes.
Shoes. Okay. Do you have a favorite
I love my
brand?
shoes. I have a very specific pair that I wish they would come back with. I love the old Paula Creamers from Adidas.
Oh, cool.
And those were my favorite ones growing up. And I still
Mm-hmm.
have both pairs that I grew up having. But I love the G4 shoes, Adidas
Yeah.
shoes. Both those are probably my go-to brands.
Yeah. Agreed. So I know, yeah, I've got a couple of G4 in there. They're cute, stylish, comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can get behind that. Um, what about let's see, what motivates you? Like you're obviously very motivated and goal oriented. Is it setting goals or is it something else that motivates you?
It's setting goals, but also seeing the excitement in others when they pick something
Mhm.
up. And so, especially with kids, and that's why I love what I do, is
Mhm.
when they have that aha moment, it keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
And I want to see them succeed and know that they can do everything that they set their mind to. And I always go by the always believe in yourself and you
Hmm.
can conquer all things. And I've shown myself that, and I've
Hmm.
shown these other kids that I work with as well that they can do that. And it really it brings you back down every time
Yeah.
that you get that moment with them, and it makes you want to always do more and more with it, so it's exciting.
Absolutely. And I can see that. There's a different energy in kids too. And I can imagine that's not necessarily, I mean, contagious, but also just very motivating. That's
Yes.
fun. That's really cool. Let's see. How about a hidden talent? Do you have a hidden
i
talent?
I don't really know if I have any hidden talents. It would be like coming up with unique games on the spot. Like that's
Yeah.
truly what I'm good at, is like something out of the ordinary, that if we're in like a class discussion or something, I
Hmm.
can like pull something out of nowhere and
That's
we make it
amazing.
work. So,
That's that's definitely the coach in you. I feel like that's
yes.
something that many coaches have, that talent of being able to pull things together that are
Yes.
effective, and that's a good one. I think that counts. What about okay, do you have a favorite golfer, a favorite professional player?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, Female wise, I think I'd go with Stacey Lewis.
Mhm.
She's been very crucial to women's golf and
Yeah.
opening doors, and she's been a great player. She's a great mom,
Mhm.
and I've seen her a few times and done a couple events with her, and
Oh, neat.
she's got this charisma to her that keeps her very lively and also just a great player.
Oh, I love that.
In the guys' world, I really like John Rahm.
Okay.
He's
Awesome.
awesome. I've met him a few times. He's got that competitive drive, which I absolutely
Mhm.
love. But then he's also got this very fun and outgoing side where once you get to know him, he will talk your ear off and he's a blast.
Oh, that's neat. That's fun to watch and follow, especially when you have some favorites to see,
Yes.
you know, how they are poised and how they, present themselves on the course and as an athlete like that. What, let's see, and we might jump into some of these. Um, I think some of these good questions I got off Instagram. If
Let's do it.
And then, so we'll jump into those, and then I'll definitely want to go back to a couple of things as we look at 2023, what's going on. All right. So, how would you summarize what First Tee does?
So the first tee Greater Chicago, I can talk about that one, and then
Hmm.
also first tee in general. So the first tee in general talks about basically the teaching life skills through the game of golf. And so we want to build your confidence. We want to teach you how to reach your goals. We want to teach you about building the building blocks of life. And so first tee Greater Chicago, we offer our classes and we instill that as we go through our curriculum and our day-to-day class that your child would come into. So the first tee Greater Chicago has 18 sites that we are at throughout
That's
the north
amazing.
suburbs, the south suburbs, the city of Chicago, and we're expanding out into the west suburbs as well. And
And you kind of oversee the instruction of all those sites.
yes,
That's
so
incredible.
we've got all of our lead coaches underneath me go through a series of training, and then they get a curriculum from me from First Tee National.
Hmm.
And we produce that out to the kids, and the kids absolutely love it. So we've got 2,000 kids in our program right now
Wow.
that, yeah, the numbers keep adding up and we keep getting more and more interest. And we want to keep getting more kids in so that the game of golf continues to grow.
That's so neat. That's so neat. Can you tell, and I don't know if you end up following the kids along, and I think part of this is probably the age range. So first, what's the age range of kids that attend or can attend first tee programs?
So the average age range is 6 to 18.
Okay.
First Tee Greater Chicago, the Waveland site
Mhm.
specifically actually allows our kids to come as young as 4.
Oh, neat.
And so I work with the little guys
Cute.
on all of our just introducing them into the game, getting that hand-eye coordination going. So our
Hmm.
one site specific does have a younger age group, but then majority of our other ones are specific to that 6 and to 18 range.
Okay. And so up to 18, I think my next question was going to be, um, can you, do you guys have a rate of which kids stick with the program or continue in golf? Like, do you have any visibility to that?
We do. We notice a lot of the kids are now kind of trying for college scholarships. And so
Hmm.
we've been helping them get into the recruiting aspect of things. And myself
Cool.
going through it previously, I have a little bit of that hindsight that I can help guide them
Yeah.
into the right channels and get them into
Mm.
contact with coaches if they need, and how to get exposed into the
Yeah.
next step of their career and their phase of I want to play college golf. I want to go
Right.
into the next, or even if it's basketball, how can we help them get into a basketball scholarship? So
That's
it's
really
not
neat.
only just golf. We've been really helping with a lot of the different aspects of the game and how they can grow with it, and even the careers that could come with it if they choose to go into the golf industry.
That's incredible. I think, and that's what I've always heard about first tee is that there's just so much more to it than golf. And the
Yes.
life lessons, and there's just, yeah, so much good in that. That's amazing.
Yes.
So, what about, because a couple of these are tied to your experience with kids and coaching, what's the funniest thing a kid has done during instruction?
Well, currently, I would tell you this, and I think it's pretty funny, is everybody thinks that anytime I am gone and I am not in our physical class in Chicago, they think that I am Taylor Swift and I am on tour.
Stop.
And
Oh,
so
it's so cute.
I've been traveling the last week for a tournament and then a training for first tee. And I got a couple text messages from some parents asking, "Hey, is Taylor Swift still on tour?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And I would send a picture, and
Oh,
the kids
cute.
all are, they say I'm the Hannah Montana
Oh, I
of
love it. Oh my
um
gosh.
so it's pretty funny.
Well, you did
But
have, what would you guys posted some song and dance on your Instagram the other
yes,
day. Was that you and all
yes,
your instructors?
it was. So that was out in our training, and we came up, it was a TikTok task, is what it was.
Uh-huh.
And we had to come up with a creative song and dance to be able to post. And so I came up with head, shoulders, knees, toes. And then we talked about your putting, your chipping,
Yes.
your full swing. And then it kind of tied into like what your posture would be.
Oh
And
my gosh.
so
It's
all the
awesome.
coaches go, "How did you come up with that so fast?" I said,
There you
"That's just,
go.
that's
Your
what I
hidden
can do."
talent.
So it was pretty funny. So you got to check
Oh,
that one out if you
I
haven't
did.
seen
Oh, I
it.
totally watched it. I was like, this is so clever. It was really cute. And it looked like you guys had a fun time with it. How long
Yes.
did you have to practice that song and dance?
We had 10 minutes to practice
No,
it.
really? Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Even better.
Yes.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. That was cool. All right. So how do you get kids to stay focused was another question.
I would say
Every mom out there, every
every
parent out there is going to take some notes. So go for it.
to keep the kids focused is actually one of the things that I really enjoy finding a way to make work. And
Mhm.
it's making a game fun enough for them to have interest in, but it's also make it relevant to them. So
Mhm.
if it's a game that's going to be over their head, they're not going to understand it. So
Yeah.
why try to make them stay focused on something they can't understand? So I
Hmm.
try to either make it to their age group specific, or even if it's tying in a TV show that they watch or a
Yeah.
movie that is out right now, and I can at least say, "Hey, I know Sonic,"
Yeah.
and we all talk about the Sonic run, and so we sprint as fast as we can across the putting green. Or I've done like little cutouts of animals or figurines or whatever it
Yeah.
might be. And we tape it to a golf ball, and then they try to roll that golf ball as far as it could go.
Yeah.
Making it relevant to that kid is really
Yeah.
what's helped keep their focus and want them to come back. But especially making things fun
Hmm.
is the big end goal of making
Yeah,
golf.
it is. Yeah, absolutely. To keep them coming back. It makes a lot of sense.
Yes. My
Good.
motto is to make golf fun enough, long enough to keep them coming back.
Cool. That is perfect. It is, and that's exactly what you're up to. I love that. It was a good question. All right. What is the hardest thing for kids to pick up in golf? What part of the
The
game do you
hardest
think?
part might be like the course etiquette, because
Hmm.
it's so unfamiliar and there are so many intricacies that you have to
Yeah.
figure out, and it takes time to learn those things. And until some of it actually does happen, you might
Right.
not know that rule, or you might not know, hey, I got to cover this. And so it truly could be, once they're on that golf course, the etiquette side is really where you don't know until you know.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah, and
I
you're
think
playing with
that's the
somebody
hardest one.
that has to
Yes, that
gently
was,
remind you. Yeah.
yes.
That I can see that. There are a lot of nuances for sure. All
So
right. So last actually question was where are you from and how many siblings do you have? So we got where you were from
I have one
earlier.
younger sister,
Younger sister.
and
Okay. Does
she lives in Nashville, and she
Mhm.
is 24 years old.
Okay. Does she golf?
No,
No.
she is more of a artist,
Yeah.
and she could sing, she can
No neat.
draw, way different than me. I play the sports, and we're I always call her, I'm like, "Hey, can you draw this for me, because I don't have that talent." And she
Oh,
goes,
that's
"Yes."
awesome. That's
So,
good. So good team
she's been
effort.
really good. Yes.
That's fun. And certainly how kids are, especially siblings, like completely different from each other to some degree. Probably,
Yes.
I'm sure your parents would say similar in some ways, but that's cool. So younger sister. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So those are all the questions we had kind of shouted out, and I think we got those answered.
Awesome.
One thing I would love to do, and I know I just spotted this on your Instagram last week, is a project you and your team are working on for 2023. Can you tell us about
Yes.
that?
So the First Tee Greater Chicago has partnered with the Evanston Wilmette Golf Association, Kemper Sports, and the Western Golf Association and Canal Shores
Hmm.
Golf Course to restore and enhance their golf course and short game area. So the First Tee Greater Chicago is capital campaigning for
Hmm.
a First Tee youth campus on Canal Shores site. So
Cool.
we are in the process of creating a whole new Himalayan 18-hole style putting course, and that will be the center of our focus at the First Tee, and a big short game area for us to host classes on, summer camps, clinics, everything that you can imagine. Basically, take what we've done at Waveland and implement it
Mhm.
at Canal Shores, so we have another site on the north side to continue
That's
growing the game of golf.
amazing. So growing. And I know you kind of mentioned the words earlier, the kind of junior accessible. Can you explain what certain courses don't have today and how you would make a course more accessible for the junior?
Canal Shores is definitely going to be a groundbreaking atmosphere for our kids, and it's going to be super exciting because it will be junior accessible, also family accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So with it being junior accessible, the golf course will scale to a junior's game, and we will have several different sets of tees where they can play from. So as they continue to get better, then they move back a set of tees, and then
Okay.
it will get them to finally be back to the spot that they're supposed to be at at
Mhm.
that time. So there might be several different tees that you're not used to seeing out there, but it does help the game and it helps the kid have fun that is out there
Mhm.
that's not per se the most skilled golfer yet.
Yeah.
And say they're out there with your say you're out with your family and you want to go out and you've never brought your kid to a course, throwing
Right.
them on that tee box with you doesn't make sense
Yeah.
necessarily because they won't know what to do. So if they're playing from that right set of tees, it'll help have them have fun, it'll help the family play faster, and all around keep you coming back for more. So it'll be
Absolutely.
very, very exciting.
That's neat. I'm hopeful that more courses will do that because I know, and we even did that a little bit with some of our older boys that can now play. Is that, um, they're not defeated by it, but I can see that eventually it would be a little
Yes.
harder on them, right? Off of even if it's the red tee, the ladies' tees, or anything like that.
Hmm.
That's a big difference from where they could be on junior tees. So
The
hopefully more
best
courses do that.
the best way to put it, and it's always a good reminder, is
Hmm.
whatever tee you are playing, your child or whoever's with you should have the equivalent club selection that you have. So if you're hitting driver wedge,
Hmm.
your child or whoever you are with should be hitting driver wedge as well. So
Okay.
the lengthwise is always, you want to look at what you're going to hit, then they should have
Mhm.
the same. So even if your
Cool.
husband's back at one tee and then you're up
Yeah.
at another tee and then your children might be in the fairway,
Yeah.
they all four of you should have the same club selections going into
Right.
that hole. So
Right.
that's how
Right.
it's an easy measure once you put it that
Yeah,
way.
it is. It is.
And
That makes a lot of sense.
it makes the game fun because then it's everybody can get onto the green in terms of par and regulation
Yeah. Oh, that's
and
super exciting.
make the game what it's supposed to be.
I love that. Well, congratulations. That is a
Thank you.
really cool project to be a part of, and I can't wait to just hear and see more about it, and good luck on the capital raise. I know that's always
Thank
a
you.
yeah, big feat, but you guys will do great.
Yes.
That's really neat. Now I've got kind of one other question, and I didn't get to preface this with you at all, but it's more on the lines of just women's golf apparel. So, what are your thoughts on, I think, the evolution of it? Because there's been a lot of really great changes in the space, and it's new brands coming on board, and I think the offering is expanding. And I mean, I always think of it as, most pro shops will say that women's golf is very hard to manage from a merchandising standpoint, and mainly because of the way we shop and um,
Mhm.
polos and shorts aren't gonna cut it,
Yep.
typically,
Yep.
right? Like, when you're just looking even your ready-to-wear stuff, like, we
Yes.
like selection, and there's so many different things you can wear and get away with, but, from the women's perspective, what are your thoughts on it? One piece of this is rules and kind of the etiquette around dress code. Where do you kind of
Mhm.
stay in that space? Like, where's your spot?
I definitely think that it's transitioned into a better situation than it was.
Mhm.
We're not as classic as we used to be. I want to use
Mhm.
that word. It's not the long skirts. It's
Yeah.
not the very high collared shirts and
Right.
things like that anymore. But there's still the reminder of what it used to be,
Yeah.
and you definitely have some certain clubs that say, oh, you need to have the 17-inch length skirt
Mhm.
and you need to have the collared shirt and it
Yeah.
can't be sleeveless. So you still have those. But I think the trend has moved into more fashion forward and
Mhm.
it does accommodate what we want and what we want to
Yeah.
wear. And
Yeah.
for younger girls, especially, you want to have that mid length skirt and you want to
Yeah.
have a cute sleeveless top and you want to feel good when you go out and play in something. And
Right.
the statement of feel good, play good definitely comes
Yeah.
into it. It's a true thing.
It
And
is.
so definitely the active wear has come out and I think
Mhm.
it's in the right trend. But
Yeah.
I do think still having that classic look of what we were even 5 years ago,
Yeah.
of that true like polo, even if it was a sleeveless polo, it still looked like a polo. And then the
Right.
skirts were still, you didn't have to have ruffles on every single thing. Um,
Yes.
but it's definitely different, and I think we're trending in the right direction now. If
Yeah.
all clubs
Yeah.
would fall into that category of
Mhm.
adopting some of the newer styles and things like
Yeah.
that, it
Yeah.
would definitely help, and especially help the younger side and generation
Sure.
want to come into this and they want to come out and they want to play golf, but they want to look cute while doing it. And if you're telling
Yeah.
them that they can't wear
Certain things.
certain things, then they're not going to want to do it. And
Right.
it's just you want everybody to come together, and the
Yeah.
stigma of it should you're still living in the past, I think, needs to
Yeah.
go away. But the
Yeah.
keeping it traditional and I would say modern almost
Yes. No, I think
is a
that's a
good way to do
good,
it.
yeah, there's a good blend, right? Like it's certainly the tradition of the sport. I think there's a lot of importance there. So, and so much of it's like the influence of social media and
Yes.
what everybody does see on social media and versus some of the dress code rules that aren't quite, to that level.
Yes.
From a casual standpoint, or like you said, wearing just athletic wear to the course. But I think we're inching towards getting a good blend
Yes.
of those. So we're getting there. Now, are you very tall?
I'm 5'4".
5'4". Okay. So you're
Yes.
not, this is funny. We
Not
don't have,
super tall.
no, we has a friend of mine was like, I'm so curious to see if she has the same problem I have. And she's really tall. And so I was like, I don't know if Taylor's tall or not, but I'll ask her.
5'4".
Yeah. So you're average. You're not dealing with tall lengths. Are you in a petite?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well then, I mean, that's kind of the other side of the spectrum is, are you always typically wearing skirts? So, like, is that your
I prefer skirts or
preference?
dresses. Those are the
Yeah.
two that I really
Okay.
like.
Yep.
This like for me, shorts are they're there, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather to me a golf outfit is more of a dress or a
Yeah.
skirt outfit.
Right. Right.
And so that's the look I usually tend to go for.
Yeah. And the dresses have come a long way too.
Yes.
And I would say they're
Yes.
kind of newer piece, I think, to golf wear, like over the last few
Hmm.
years. So that's fun. Give some variety to everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, listen, that is the end of shooting questions at you. And I can't thank you enough for spending the time with us and allowing us to share this with everybody. And you're just another wonderful woman in golf that we can't wait to watch and see all the things you're working on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to have the connection. And if you're ever in
Yeah.
Chicago, please come visit.
Oh, I will. I am. I have got some friends there. So I will definitely let you know.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Taylor.
Absolutely.